Welcome, my dear listener. Tonight, I'll tell you a story about waiting, about love, and about how life can be both heavy and gentle at the same time. So close your eyes, and let's begin. There was an old man named Henry. He lived alone in a small apartment at the corner of a quiet street. Every morning, he would sit by the window with a cup of tea and look outside. Across the street was another window, and in that window lived a woman named Eleanor. Henry had never spoken to her. He didn't know her name at first, nor where she came from. But every morning, when the sunlight touched the glass, he would see her watering her plants, sometimes smiling to herself, sometimes waving to the sky. Henry had lost his wife 10 years ago. Since then, silence had filled his house. The ticking of the clock, the creak of the old floorboards, even the sound of his own footsteps, all reminded him of what he once had and lost. But somehow, watching that woman across the street made the mornings easier. He began to notice little details: the way her hair caught the light, the way she looked at the birds that came to her window, the way she seemed kind. Days passed, then weeks, then months, and somehow, without a word, they became part of each other's daily rhythm. Sometimes, she would smile when she saw him through the window. Sometimes he would wave, and sometimes they'd just sit, two souls separated by a street, but connected by something invisible. One day, winter came, the air turned cold, and snow began to fall gently on the rooftops. Henry still sat by the window, wearing his old sweater, waiting to see her. But that morning, she wasn't there. He waited again the next day. Still no sign. Her window remained closed. Her curtains stayed drawn. A strange emptiness grew in Henry's heart, a quiet worry that whispered, "Maybe she's gone." For days he kept looking, hoping she would appear, but the window stayed dark. Then one evening, as the snow turned to rain, Henry noticed a small light flicker behind the curtain. His heart leapt. The next morning, the window opened again. Eleanor stood there, weak, pale, but smiling. In her hand, she held a small piece of paper. She pressed it gently against the glass. From across the street, Henry squinted and saw the words written in large, shaky letters, "Thank you for noticing me." His eyes filled with tears. He didn't know what to say, so he simply placed his hand over his heart and nodded. And that was enough. Over the next few weeks, their silent friendship deepened. Henry began writing small notes too. "Good morning," "Beautiful day," and once on her birthday, "May today bring you peace." He would hold them up to his window, and she would smile, sometimes holding up her tea in return, as if to say, "Cheers, my friend." Then one morning, spring came again. The snow had melted, and the air smelled of rain and flowers. Henry got up early, made his tea, and looked across the street. But her window was empty again. The plants were gone. The curtains gone too. And outside, a "For rent" sign hung from her balcony. Henry stood there for a long time, his tea growing cold in his hand. He felt a tear slide down his cheek, but he smiled softly, because even though she was gone, she had given him something he hadn't felt in years: connection, hope, a reason to wake up each morning. That evening, as the sky turned orange and purple, Henry sat by the window again. He whispered quietly, "Goodbye, my friend. Thank you for being there." He closed his eyes, and for the first time in a long while he felt truly at peace. So, my dear listener, sometimes the people who change our lives are not the ones we touch, but the ones who simply see us, from across the street, from across the world, from across time itself. And as you drift to sleep tonight, remember that even the smallest kindness, the softest smile, can make someone's world a little brighter. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. You are not alone. Good night.